Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. Oh, I think we're going to do 2 episodes today. Why? Because I've got a lot on my mind, and that's a scary thing, and that's a scary place to be. Oh, I wanted to briefly talk about Joe Judge. Joe Judge, he is being his own man in training camp. He is taking I don't know, Bill Parcells came out with the advice to Judge the other day, be yourself. Because in Parcells' rookie season, which was 3-12-1 back in 1983, Parcells was not himself. He listened to everyone else. He did everything the way other people have telling him to do. So his advice to Judge was, you know what, be your own self. Be yourself. Because Parcells even said back before the 84 season, if I'm going to get fired, I'm going to get fired doing it my way. And the Giants went 9-7. Sims threw for over 4,000 yards, 22 touchdowns, and they made it to the second round of the playoffs. And then, of course, they had the 85, 86 season, and the rest into the Super Bowl history. But the 84 Giants team, even though 83 was bad, had a lot more talent than this team has right now. So we can't really compare that. But I get concerned with Judge because some of the things he does, it's interesting. And I know he's getting some flack from former players and such as this. And honestly, when I look at some other people that tweet things and write things, and my thing, I always say this, and I'm not trying to be derogatory against anyone, but if you have never strapped on the chin strap at a higher level than Pop Warner, you really, in my mind, aren't really qualified to talk about practice in training camp, spring practice, summer practice. So it depends on if you're in college, if you're in high school, you're not qualified to talk about it. You can see what goes on in the field, but you are not on the field. So it is a totally different beast, and which is why a lot of players were ripping Judge. Now, it reminds me of my favorite line from Remember the Titans.
There's a fine line between tough and crazy, and you're flirting with it.
And I love that line because it's so apropos. There is a very thin line between, tough and crazy. And I'm not saying Joe Judge is even flirting with that line. I'm not saying that. But we have to take a look at some of the things that are occurring in camp right now. Injuries. Today, let's take a look at the injuries that we had today. Darius Slayton was not on the field practicing today. And that any injury to the wide receiving cord right now is could be extremely detrimental. A judge came out and says the trainers are dealing with him and more information will be released at a later time. Saquon Barkley limped off the field today after trying to break a tackle during 11-11 drills. He could have returned, they said, but they held him out as in cautionary reasons. Ryan Connolly was still on the sidelines and he didn't participate in practice, and he also missed the last few practices with unknown reasons. And then he also missed the first scrimmage. Of course, he's dealing with the injury from 2019. Spencer Pulley left practice today. Judge is saying that the players, some of them left with cramps, but he wouldn't specify which players. You can't, in some ways you have, yes, and I understand you have to walk that line with such a young team and such a team that we have played so poorly over the last X amount of years. But I had the honor and the privilege of watching the ultimate hard ass from the sidelines for 2 years during training camp. That's John Gruden. I had the honor of watching him in 2003 and 2004. And that 2003 season was after the Super Bowl and they were 7-9. In 2004, most people forget, the Bucs went 5-11. Gruden is the ultimate hard ass. But he knew where that line was. He knew when to walk it back. He knew when to go after guys. And like I said, we're only seeing limited things from Giants training camp. So maybe Judge is doing this, but from everything that we see, he is preaching discipline. He is preaching accountability, and I understand that. And I've said this a million times before. These gentlemen are professionals. The rookies, yes, I can understand the rookies having, issues. And I can understand you jumping on their ass more and more. But you have guys on this team that, have been in the league 4 or 5 years now. So, so they've been around the block a little bit. And the thing is, when you try to preach this type of discipline in some regards and this type of tenacity during practices, this is when injuries happen. And you have to get worried when you see people going down, with injuries. And today, the Giants, evidently they did not practice up to Joe Judge's standard. So what did he do? He brought them back out on the field again, for like another 45 minutes to half hour. And I don't have a problem with that, because you know what? If you have a bad practice, yes, you should definitely get back on that field and show what else you can do. But then you take a look at it and you find out that, like, Eli Penny, he spent the rest of the practice on the sidelines, and he also missed Sunday's walkthrough. So you know what? We need to be careful. We also had a tight end left practice today. John. He went down grabbing his left thigh on one-on-one drills again. And again, it's one-on-one tackling drills. I mean, the good news is Prince Smith returned to practice after sitting out Sunday. But we need to be without any preseason. We need to be careful how much we beat these guys up in practice. And I think, and I was not a big proponent of only having 13 padded practices and not having a preseason. I was not a big proponent of that. I thought that was kind of a wussy way to go, But then I also see that, maybe the Players Association had a good thing thinking about that, so the coaches didn't run these guys into the ground. I mean, Shane Lemieux and Peppers left practice today as well. And again, he's saying they were cramp-related issues. We don't know what's going on. But like I said, there is that fine line between tough and crazy. And I'm not saying, like I said, I am not saying Judge is reaching that line. I am not saying he's going anywhere near that line. I'm just saying we need to just make sure that our team is healthy enough to play against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's it. And yes, he is a first-year head coach. He really is, and I understand he's trying to make his mark. And we've said it before. We've seen reports from the media that he's walking around like the stereotypical movie tough guy coach, and maybe that's his persona, or maybe that's what he thinks he needs to do to get this team to play for him. I don't know. And I'm not saying it's the right thing. I'm not saying it's the wrong thing. But when you see the injuries starting to pile up and you're not really having any physicality in the practices, there may be an underlying cause or issue. I don't know what it is, because you know what? This is the first year, I think, in maybe 15 years that I have not been at training camp almost every day. So I can't tell you. I can only see what goes on when the Giants stream live and then whatever videos they put out. That's the only thing that I can see. One last thing I want to talk about is David Sills. David Sills, everyone is on his case that he is going to be the next Victor Cruz, and he is going to do this, and he looks great in camp. And he might. He might be looking fantastic in camp, But again, he's another guy that was an undrafted free agent. He signed with the Bills in 2019. He was waived by the Bills in August, and then he signed on in September with the Giants to the practice squad. He went to the active roster December 17th. And like I said, he was also placed on the COVID list with the Giants in July, but then activated 7 days later. He's a guy that went to West Virginia as a quarterback his freshman year. He left school and went to a junior college. He went to El Camino College, I believe it was, in 2016, then returned to West Virginia as a wide receiver. Didn't have great college stats, not bad college stats. I mean, he had 60 catches for 980 yards one year. Then he had 65 catches for 989 yards. Like I said, he had, which is awesome, he had 35 touchdowns. The kid is a touchdown machine in some ways. He had 18 one year, 15 another. But again, that's in college at West Virginia, and that was 2 years ago. And I've said this a bazillion times. There's a reason why you are an undrafted free agent. There's a reason that all the other players got picked before you. Yes, have teams made mistakes? Oh, God, yes. 100% they have made mistakes before. But you know what? The majority of the time, they are right, though. And that's what we need. That's what you need to consider. Victor Cruz, was he was an anomaly in some ways. I mean, he came out of UMass. He had the big preseason in 2010 where he had over 297 yards. He made the roster, then got hurt 3 games of the season, missed the rest of the season, and then he took off in 2011, 12, and 13. And then he fell off the map in 14 because of injuries and everything else going on. But, after he got his contract, I'm still not bitter about that because you know what? I even said the day they gave him that contract, you do not pay a slot receiver that much money. But you know what? That's neither here nor there. But every player that looks good in training camp is not going to be a Victor Cruz. That's what we need to remember. And sometimes I see the pressure being put on these guys because of that. And it's like, they got enough crap going on right now that you don't need to be compared. David Sills needs to make the team first. I've said the same thing about Nick Gates. Nick Gates could be the greatest player in Giants history on the offensive line. I don't know, but you know what? Before we anoint him with any of that, he needs to win a job. Not difficult. Win the job, Nick. Or let's do that before we worry that you are going to be the greatest player in Giants history. Let's do that first. The same thing when we gave Spencer Pulley the money. He hadn't done anything yet. Now Pulley's looks like he may be replaced by Gates. You know what? Yes, I seem to be fired up today because you know what? I love this sport. I love this team. I love football. I played it. I worked in it. I've seen it. And you know what? I miss it. And I miss not being at training camp. Oh my God, it's just killing you. It kills me. But you know what? We need to be practical about this. We need to understand that these undrafted free agents and these 7th round picks that everyone loves to talk about, we need to worry about the starting 11 on each side. That's what we need to worry about first, and then we can focus on the depth. Now, I think the scrimmage on Friday is going to go a long way to allow us all to see what's going on with training camp and give us a better understanding and a better view. We'll probably do a video the day after. We're not probably going to do. I know a lot of people are probably going to stream it, and they're probably going to do play-by-plays for it. But, we don't do that. Whatever. Like I said, we're life is too short. Like you guys, Online Big Blue here, we got a lot of stuff going on, too. I'm actually in the process of converting my one tank on my Fat Bob and trying to put an embossed Willie G logo on a matte black tank in almost in a shimmer black. It's going to be interesting. I might post a picture of it one day. But you know what? We all love sports. We all love the Giants. We all love YouTube. I don't know if I love YouTube, but I have fun doing YouTube now and then. And like I said, I really do appreciate everyone watching. And I am flattered by some of the emails that I get and even some of the comments. And the people that, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. I said that a million times. You know what? I'd rather you not agree with me because it's a better channel if we have disagreements. Not everyone's going to agree with everything. Just ask my wife. She doesn't agree with half the stuff I say. But again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could subscribe, if you could ring that bell, I think you know what that means. That'd be awesome.